All right, welcome back to day 2.
Normal entrance today.
Yeah, we're boring.
Mm-hmm.
How do I perform operations with complex numbers?
Same question as yesterday. So recall back to lesson 1-3 that you can never leave your answer with a square root in the denominator.
No.
We called it rationalizing the denominator.
Mhm.
So we multiplied, remember, the numerator and the denominator by whatever was in the bottom.
Yep.
So now we're talking about not square roots, we're talking about imaginary numbers.
Okay.
You can never, ever leave a final answer with I in the denominator.
Okay.
So how do you get rid of it?
Rationalize it.
Right, you have to multiply the numerator, the top, and the denominator, which is the bottom, by the complex conjugate, which we learned last lesson,
Okay.
of the denominator.
Got
A
it.
lot of things went on.
Here's
So
the good reminder
yeah.
in case you forgot.
So the complex conjugate of a complex number, if you have a plus bi, remember the real parts stay
Stays
the same.
The I switches.
Yes.
Okay.
So here we go. Notice it says simplify. We have to simplify because there's an I or a negative I. So we have to multiply by the complex conjugate, which is going to be just I.
Because this would be 0.
Yep.
0 stays the same, then we switch this one, so we just multiply by I.
Now, here's students, you're going to make a mistake right away because we have to multiply I by 3
Everything.
and 8I.
Yes.
So
I times 3
is 3I,
is 3I.
and I
8
times
times
8 is
Plus
8I
8I
squared, all over negative I squared.
Okay.
What do we know about I squared? It's equal to
That's negative 1.
Let's write that on the side. I squared equals negative 1 to refresh their memory. Everywhere there's an I squared, you're going to plug in negative 1. Okay, so let's do that. So 3I
3I
plus,
negative 8.
why negative 8?
Well, because a negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. No?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
okay.
It's been a lot of videos. Thank you, Miss Boyd.
Yes.
Keeping
and
me
now
on track.
the negative times a negative 1 gives us a positive.
There we go. So guess what we get?
Well, anything over 1 is
It's just, yeah,
this,
so
but
it's-
we want to put it in the right order.
Right. So we
we got to
need,
put the I here and switch the negative 8 here.
so we
So
get
we get
negative 8 plus 3I,
I.
and we're done.
Good.
That's not so bad.
No.
Let's go to example 2. And I'm going to get there right now. Here we go. Oh boy. Well, honestly, it's
okay,
not too
we
bad.
Can do it. We can do it.
We're going to multiply the
So
top
four
and bottom
stays.
by the complex conjugate.
So that's our complex conjugate, right?
So we're going to multiply the top by 4 plus 2i and the bottom by 4 plus 2i. Well, now, when you multiply a binomial times a binomial, that's called FOIL. Foil. Here we go. Let's do it.
All right. First,
2 times
2
4.
times 4 is 8.
8.
Outers.
Outside
2 times 2i
is 4i. And inside.
Insides. 8i plus 4 is 32.
Not plus, 8i times 4.
Right, sorry.
32i.
Plus 32i.
Yep.
And then outers,
Outer.
first outer, inner, last.
8i times 2i is 16i squared.
Squared. All over.
All right.
Now we gotta do it again.
Let's maybe erase this little
Okay.
guy right now so we don't get confused. There we go. Okay. So 4 times 4 is 16.
Plus
Outside. 4 times 2i is 8i. Inside.
Negative 8i.
Yep. And last. Negative
Negative
4i
4i
squared. Well, we know that
Can we
I
clean up the I squareds first?
Yeah. Let's do it.
This is a negative 1.
Okay.
This is a negative 1.
All right. So we'll clean up that first.
That's all of them. All right.
That's it.
So we have 8 plus 4i
Mm-hmm.
plus 32i
Right.
plus 16 times a negative 1 is a negative
16. You got it.
all over 16 plus 8i plus negative 8i.
Mhm.
Ooh, those are going to cancel.
I know. This is nice.
And a negative times a negative is a positive.
Plus 4.
All right, combine our like terms.
Yes.
Those can combine to give us
36i.
36.
Don't forget the 8.
I know.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
8 and a negative 16
Is a negative 8.
is a negative 8. So I'm going to put that up front.
Okay.
all over.
The 8 i's are going to
Those
cancel.
cancel. Bye-bye.
Yes.
And we're left with 20.
Right.
Now we can reduce this, right?
We can. And so, notice, you can reduce it, and this is why. -8, 36, and 20 can
So
all
find a
be
common
divided,
number by
right,
all of them.
and they all can be divided by 4. So -8 divided by 4 is -2. 36i divided by 4 is 9i. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. And that is your answer.
That kind of looks like a 6.
Yeah,
so I'm
I'm
going
gonna
to
fix
change
that. And just to refresh their memory, remember, we can always, if we had to say, oh, what's the real part, what's the imaginary part, we can write that into -2 over
this
5 plus 9i over 5. That's it.
Okay.
Let's scroll down here. The imaginary unit I can be raised to higher powers as shown below. Pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Notice the repeating pattern in each row of the table. The pattern allows you to express any power of I as one of 4 possible values. It either can be I, because I to the 1 is just I, right? I squared, which is -1. I cubed, and we're going to go through this, a little tricky right now, is -I, and I to the 4th is 1. It's going to be a repeating pattern.
Okay.
So the goal here is this. If we have to simplify an I value with an odd power, we want to break it up into an even power and an odd power, because
sense.
I squared is -1.
Got it.
So let's go here. Oh, we have an even one. So
Okay.
what we want to do first, when I look at this, it's -6i to the 14.
Okay.
The first thing I want to do is we have to write -6. Let's just write that. And in parentheses, I want you to write I squared. That's always how you're going to start.
Okay.
I squared. Well, now we need it to be 14.
So we have to multiply our
Right. So
exponents.
what is the number we're going to multiply by 2 to give
Times
us?
7 would give us
Right.
the 14.
Well, we know that I squared is equal to,
-1.
so let's write,
times them.
yep, write -6 maybe, or, oh, I see what you're doing. Never mind. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, oh, no, you're perfect. Yep.
Okay.
And
Keep this here.
raise that to the 7th power. Well, a negative raised to the 7th power,
Is a negative.
right, and then a negative times a negative will be a
Positive.
positive. So the answer is just 6.
Oh, that's easy.
Easy. Let's try this one.
Okay.
Now notice
There's
there
no number
isn't a
up
number in front. That's okay. But what did I
So we always
see?
start I squared.
Now, this, when it's odd, it's a little different. Can you erase
Okay.
the I squared?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to say one thing. After you erase that, I want to go up here. When the exponent is even, you always start with I squared.
Oh, because
Okay.
everything's multiplied by 2.
Yes.
Got it.
When an exponent is odd, we have to,
Take one out.
exactly,
Okay.
right. So we're going to write I, and next to that in parentheses, or you don't have to do parentheses. So I to the 1
Yep.
times I to the what? 60.
Well, 62.
Right.
Because you add
So
exponents.
the minute it's odd, you have to break it apart into an I and then what's ever left,
Got it.
which is 62. So now look what we have. We have an even.
Okay.
So the I to the first, what's that? That's
It's
just I.
I.
But now, the minute you see an even power, I always say start with a I squared in parentheses. And what do you have to multiply 2 by to get to?
31.
Yes. And now we're back to the example we did before.
Got it.
We know that I squared is equal to,
-1.
So if we rewrite that as,
First.
oh yeah,
Times I.
right. And -1 raised to an odd power is always going to be,
Negative.
right?
So we
And
have I.
times
negative 1.
-1, right?
So then we just get
Negative I.
I.
And I'm not sure what that little dot, can you erase that? See that little
Sure.
dot? That's
Yeah,
just kind of
it's just
bugging
a
me.
stray mark.
Yeah. Let's circle our answer.
And we're done.
Yes,
Nice.
next page.
Video questions.
So simplify. Now be careful. It's an
It's
odd.
an odd, so you're going to have to get I to the first and I to
To
the
the
24th.
24th and
then go.
then go.
Okay.
And simplify, you have to
Get the I out.
multiply the top and bottom by
the
the complex conjugate.
Right.
Which is going to be -8i.
Okay.
Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.